right, everyone, and we are ready for Pokemon trading card game Any Percent Glitchless, being run by Toronite. We're gonna beat some more monsters up. First, we did have $5 from Cell. This event is so hot, we need to see the fire starter. And that did go last minute towards Charmander. But let's get in and see what starter was chosen. Toronite.
All right. We had three starters: Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. And they're all very viable for this run, but obviously one will come out as the victor. And that is Bulbasaur, my bread and butter starter for this game. And hold on.
Yeah, and thank you, everyone. We did raise $65 towards Little Warriors for that bid war.
Okay, and I apologize. Hopefully my audio is doing. Hopefully my audio is coming out well. But while we are doing that, okay, there we go. Apologies. I don't know why that happened. I apologize. But either way, Bulbasaur, the bread and butter that has been the popular category of this speed game over the last few years, is an excellent choice. And we're gonna have our little onion buddy. I think Bulbasaur is kind of an onion. He will be my comm buddy for today, but he's not the only comm buddy. We also got Derek GNC helping me out on comms. Derek, how you doing?
Doing outstanding. Ready to see some Pokemon, some trading, and some cards. And ready for that to be all together in one place.
Awesome. And now, obviously, we got to name our character. So, I do have a quick question, Trainer Nade. What is a 6-letter word that starts with the letter D and is something that where someone would give money to a great cause, such as Little Warriors?
I think donate?
Oh,
hopefully.
Yep. Exactly. So I encourage all of you guys to donate to this wonderful cause. And we also do still have the Imakuni boss fight incentive, which is a really good and funny fight to go for. It's not something you see in the Any Percent Glitchless round, but it's always fun because he's got unique boss music and the absolute greatest flavor text in a card ever. So we are hoping to kind of see that throughout the run, and I feel confident that we're going to get to it. Okay, and we are ready to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, so Pokemon TCG was the Game Boy Color game of the original trading card game back in 1998. It came out for the Game Boy Color. Was super duper popular. It only brought out the first 3 sets: base set, jungle, and fossil. So you have 226 cards in this game. Technically 228, but we don't talk about the last 2 because they were made unavailable due to a bit of a programming oversight. So we call them the Phantom cards. So we don't have to worry about them. We're not here to collect all the cards. We're here to become the champion. And in order to become the champion, we need to learn how to play the game. But the tutorial for this is very long, and we don't have time to go through the tutorial in its entirety. So don't tell anybody. We're gonna do our one and only glitch in this glitchless run. Don't worry. It's fine. We're gonna be fine. It's just a nice little secret between us. You don't have to tell the rest of the community that I am doing this glitch. But yeah, no, this glitch is something called Dual Escape, where depending on certain button inputs, we are able to overload the memory of this game. I think it was the technical term. And by doing so, we are able to immediately force the game to transition into the end result screen, and by doing so, we automatically win because the tutorial is kind of an auto-scroller. It's a very slow auto-scroller, but we are always guaranteed to win because the game is programmed that way. So if we go to the victory screen, that means that we would have won, or at least the game would think, wait a minute, you're already at the end. That means you win. And you can actually play the entire game this way and beat the game in like 15, 20 minutes. But, you know, we want to see all the cool little, we want to see all the cool designs. And let's see if we get it right. There we go.
I'm kind of shocked that the game is programmed to always let you win the tutorial. I weirdly think that is really special of the game, because of how brutal and hard the rest of the game is.
Oh yeah, don't worry. We will get into some of the hard fights later on. Actually, even the first fight can be a bit reset heavy if we are not careful. But thankfully, now that we know what our starter is, and I'm so happy it's Bulbasaur. I am so happy it's Bulbasaur. It's my best starter. It has the best collection of cards from the very beginning. And before I get too deep into Bulbasaur, we're gonna do one of the coolest tricks in the entire run, which is something we call mail manipulation. By doing so, we are able to try and see if we can get a free booster pack from the computer that is the upper left side of the screen. And we're gonna go for the hard version of this mail manipulation, which is 21.63 seconds long, and see if I can get this. I may have felt a little bit late. No, never mind. Perfect. We got computer search. That is awesome. That's a very difficult trick to execute, especially with the way I'm doing, because there is so basically what I try to do is a 7 frame in a 10 frame window, which I could have done it perfectly and just by pure accident hit one of the 3 frames where it would have been a dud. But thankfully we were able to do that. The reason why I was able to do that is because this entire game is dictated by a global frame rule. And because of that, everything is kind of dictated by that global frame rule. So we are able to kind of figure out what cards the AI is gonna draw, what the coin flips in this game are going to be. Nothing is ever truly random in this game up until the point where we know what that result is going to be. I'll explain it a little bit more detail, but in essence, it's kind of a complex thing to sort of explain without showing you, and I'm sure we're gonna have examples of how the RNG is kind of dictating everything. So we're gonna go into our first fight of the game. We're gonna go with a Hitmonchan deck, because Hitmonchan has a lot of very powerful moves. That is a Flying Pikachu. Unfortunately, that is a reset, which is one of the cool things about this game, is that you can restart a fight very, very easily with little to no time loss. We want to try to aim for hopefully a one-turn win here. And yep, that is a one-turn win. We have plus power, which adds an extra 10 damage to our attack. And we do whole 50, even though our base power was 20. Because we hit for resistance, for weakness, the damage multiplier is 2. So 20 turns to 40, you add in plus power, and that's 50. And just like that, we win our very first fight, which is, I'm thankful for, because the first fight in this round can be a little bit annoying, believe it or not, because of that Flying Pikachu, and it completely walls Hitmonchan. So we are just kind of going through this early portion, trying to see where we can get the good fights to try to win and win them quickly. For those of you who don't know, the way Pokemon TCG operates, we have the way it operates is you win through one of 2 ways. You either knock out, you collect prizes. Prizes are your reward for knocking out a Pokemon. You collect all the prizes, you win. But if you knock out all of your opponent's Pokemon right before you collect your last prize, then you automatically win. This Pikachu is set up. We might have. Yep, we're actually gonna lose that one. So yeah, this is so yeah, that's essentially what we are going to try to do, is go through that first method or that second method that I told you, where we are going to try and win by knocking out the opponent's Pokemon right before we collect our last prize. Because getting all the prizes, it can be a little lengthy, but a lot of times it's unavoidable getting that last prize. So we are in the
Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, let me know when would be a good time. We got a couple of generous donations here.
Oh, absolutely. I think we are, yeah, so I would say in just a quick second. So basically, we're
Sure.
going through the Lightning Club, because we have to take care of all the members of the club before we have the right to challenge the leader, which we're actually not going to do immediately, but we're going to do at a later point when we have a more consistent deck. But yes, if we have any messages from our wonderful hosts, now's a great time.
Ah, wonderful. Well, we got $25 from Alice Rujasu saying, best of luck to Toronite and all of the runners coming up. Thank you so much. That did go towards that Imakuni fight. And then we got $20 from Palix00 saying Imakuni Doko, and that also went to the Imakuni boss fight, meaning we have unlocked the extra boss fight.
Let's go.
For this marathon. Thank you so much for your generous donations. I do want to remind everyone really quick, we still have that milestone incentive to learn more about our mystery bonus game, and we opened a new incentive to upgrade Metal Gear Solid from any % easy to any % extreme, which would add approximately 20 minutes to the marathon. So if y'all like more marathon, which I do, !donate and put your money towards that incentive.
Yeah, no, I strongly urge everyone to donate to this wonderful cause, and I'm just from the bottom of my heart, I'm very thankful to Prevent-a-thon and the Games Committee for allowing me to be a small part of something great such as this.
I can agree with that one. I've gotten to do some stuff, and I love getting to help out and volunteer where I can. I like Tom's buddy. I like talking games and things like that. So go check out the donate. I also highly encourage it. And I said it was last marathon. Go shout it out your windows. Open up the windows and let all of your neighbors know to check out Prevent-a-thon. Consider donating. It's a great cause. And also to play the Pokemon TCG card.
Yes, the cool thing about TCG nowadays is the fact that this game was actually ported to Nintendo Switch last year. So if you have Nintendo Switch and you have a Nintendo Switch Online account, you can play this right now if you want, which is such a wonderful thing that has revitalized the speedrunning community of this game. We've got quite a fair number of new runners entered the scene because of this. Actually, we have someone who entered the top 10 not too long ago, only after a few months of running this game. So you already have the so that tells you there's a lot of potential to learn and get good at this game and learn how great it is to actually to speedrun Pokemon TCG. There's a lot of RNG, but boy, when everything's going well for you, it's such a fun thing to experience, and I'm glad that more and more people are starting to really enjoy Pokemon TCG.
I mean, I got to show my oldest kiddo this game when it came out, and that is always something for somebody who has kids like me who played some of these games when I was their age. It definitely makes me feel old and like I really should take some medicine for my back and my vitamins. But getting to show these sorts of games and say, hey, this is what we spent hours playing this as a kid. We weren't good at it. The game was brutal to us, but we spent hours playing this. And getting to show them that and saying, hey, you can access it on your Switch. That's so cool. I will never get over how cool getting to play games like this on modern equipment is.
All right, so okay, perfect. Oh, this is great. So what you just kind of saw, you kind of saw that it showed on Porygon when I hit it, weak and resist. Porygon is the only Pokemon in the game who can change its own resistance. So what just happened here is the one and only time in the run this could ever happen. And that is, it made its weakness and resistance the exact same type. So the way it works in this game is, I think I might have to, yeah, I'm gonna reset. The way it works is, and it's kind of it's a little bit complicated, but the way it works is you take your base damage, you multiply it by 2 for the weakness, and then you add in another, and then you subtract 30 because it hit for resistance. So let's do the math. 40 for special punch times 2 makes it 80, minus 30 makes it 50. Who says speedrunning, you can't learn stuff in speedrunning?
I was taking notes on this for my math test later. I was gonna ask like the order in which that resolves, but you definitely got that answered there. That's really interesting that it's Porygon, and this is before like the idea, the dream of Pokemon abilities such as, what is it, conversion?
Yes.
Or that those existed. And it's interesting that is also on Porygon.
Yeah, it's really funny how there's so many things in the TCG that kind of was a precursor to some of the modern stuff in Pokemon. Like in Pokemon TCG, you have Pokemon Power, which in a way kind of acted like passive abilities. That's not Lightning Club, the Rock Club, where in and we're talking, this is a Generation 1 game, and Pokemon Power were kind of like the antithesis to abilities that were introduced in Generation 3. And it's really, really cool how there's so many different ways. When you look at old school TCG, you'll realize, oh, wait a minute, there's a lot of stuff that, they were kind of figuring out, and then it funny how it translates to what we see in not just in the modern TCG, but in the RPG as well.
Didn't original TCG, and someone can absolutely fact check me on this, didn't they have the Team Rocket Shadow Pokemon? Which then went on to be the entire point of Pokemon Revolution? Oh, not Revolution.
Coliseum.
Pokemon Coliseum.
So, I don't remember if they used the word shadow. I know they used the word dark. Not as in not the type, but the. But I guess a general descriptor. Which, if I remember correctly, the way the dark Pokemon work is that they had very low HP, but they hit for a lot of damage, from what I remember. And yeah, and I think that was a concept that was introduced shortly after this game came out.
Yeah, it's my interaction with Pokemon TCG was this game, and looking at an old school, and I'm going to be dating myself here, the old school Beckett magazines that told you the card prices. And this is still when Generation 2 is getting ready to come out. And so they're talking about all the Generation 2 Pokemon going, oh, wow, Togepi. That sounds like a really strong Pokemon. So learning some of those things from card prices with no image, that was my interaction with the TCG until Generation 3 was this game and an old school magazine. Which is really cool that nowadays it is so accessible. You can play the TCG on almost every device known to humankind.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting just kind of how seeing everything has evolved from even all the way back to 1998, how this game is constantly evolving. And darn it, this is. Did I have something in the hand that could have stopped? No. Okay, this is one of the hardest fights in the game, and you would think, wait a minute, hold on, did you just rig someone from the water club? Well, that Scyther is the reason why. Cool thing about this game, about the water club, the ace is a Scyther, and the other ace for this trainer is a, believe it or not, it is a Wigglytuff. You're seeing. Ooh, okay, let's see. Does Jigglypuff do the thing? Okay. Doesn't do the thing, but this can still be a bit of a threat. Because, yeah, she has a lot of the reason why we don't go for Hitmonchan, at least in a marathon setting, is because it can be a little bit difficult, and you're really hoping you don't get Scyther, which completely walls Hitmonchan, so we go Charmander. But the problem is, there's water types, so Charmander can't really do much with Charmander. And then, unfortunately, even more so, if you go, you use Hitmonchan to combat the water and the Jigglypuff. So you kind of now trying to flip 2 coins in figuring out, okay, we need to not only hope that the matchup that I draw the Charmander and the Hitmonchan, but also happen to draw the, that's actually not great. I need a, what can I knock out right now? Okay. I have a plus power. Sorry, this is taking like 1,000,000% of all my concentration to try to figure out, because this is a really difficult boss fight. But it's not a boss fight, but we treat it as a boss fight. No joke.
Now, no, I had a question, and I immediately, as soon as I started talking, forgot it.
I hate it when that happens to me. Okay. Oh, Pokeball. Pokeball will not be useful for its intended purpose, but there is a special way we can use Pokeball that, if we end up needing, will be a perfect example of what I mean by the RNG global frame tool kind of just manipulating a lot of different things.
Now, are you basically building like a mono Pokemon deck and then filling it with energy, so that way you always have, or mono in the duo with Charmander and Hitmonchan, basically, so you'll always have that particular Pokemon? Or what is the deck strategy, if that's not too complicated to cover?
So the deck strategy in a speedrun is effectively only go for one, not just one Pokemon type at a time, one Pokemon family in general. Unless in the case of like where you use something like the Trio and Hitmonchan, which both have different purposes later on in the run, but very, very useful. You want to keep it to one Pokemon type, just because if you even introduce a second type, it kind of cuts your odds of getting the right type by half. And given that a lot of the trainers, they're also monotype, you don't have to worry a whole lot about making sure that the matchups fit. Because, like, for example, we're in the water club, so most of the Pokemon are going to be water. So we don't have to worry about making sure the type matchups make sense, because they're almost always going to make sense. There's a couple of fights where you're gonna be scratching your head, thinking, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, perfect. This is a great example. Okay, so let's see if I can get this right. That did not work. So let's try Item Finder and hope. Unless this is like a really bad frame. Perfect. Okay. So what you just saw me do was re-roll the RNG in a way where those 2 coin flips landed in tails. If I reset my turn without doing anything additionally that kind of changes the RNG value that we are in, it will always go tails. And I don't want that to happen. So what we do is we use Energy Search, not to search out an energy, but we did, but mainly to shuffle the deck, because the deck being shuffled is something that changes the RNG value of this game, and it effectively makes the coin flip 50-50 again. Thankfully, I had two Pokemon, two ways. I'm gonna reset it. That is not great. I had two ways of making sure, two extra chances of flipping a coin flip and hopefully landing heads. Because if it landed tails, my turn would have ended, because that's the deal with Horsey's smokescreen. If it hits, you have to flip a coin, and if it lands heads, it goes. Your turn is automatically over. So you saw that my next coin flip landed tails. So what I'm going to do is just pass on the. Well, it was originally going to be a tails, but we're just going to just do a little bit of chip damage, because I was not expecting the War Turtle to come out. So, actually, this is a really fun little thing about this about the bosses, which you're never going to believe. Like, you're going to say, like, oh yeah, like, oh, the AI always cheats, the game's unfair. No, on bosses, the game legitimately cheats. So basic Pokemon in this game are, you know, unevolved Pokemon, or Pokemon that can evolve, but they are in their first stage. That's what we mean by basic Pokemon. And in the TCG, you're always guaranteed, you have to draw at your opening hand has to be one basic, because otherwise you can't actually play the game. The AI is programmed for the bosses to always have two basics in their opening hand. So no matter what happens, they will always have two extra two basic Pokemon. So you can never have a true 1-to-1 fight against boss AI.
That oddly feels like it's cheating, blatant cheating, but also at the same time, it kind of makes sense for the boss to have a little extra, so you're not just one-turning it.
Yeah, no.
It kind of weirdly makes sense.
Now, it's funny that you mentioned that. Put a pin on the whole one-turning a boss thing. I just want to give you a heads up. Put a pin on that for like 35 minutes from now, because we are going to revisit that. I wasn't planning on staying around, but I think this is a good little teaser. We're gonna revisit that in about 35 minutes when it comes to the concept of hitting the AI for beating bosses in one turn. I'm not saying we're gonna do that, but it's a very interesting property when it comes to certain bosses.
Okay, fair enough.
But thankfully, we are essentially done with this segment where we have a lightning deck. Well, not really a lightning, we're just a single Electabuzz deck against the entire world. Which, that's kind of a common occurrence. Is you're just going to see a lot of Pokemon, a lot of decks in a speedrun where it's just one Pokemon. And you just hope that the numbers disadvantage does not catch up to you.
It is good and refreshing to see that nothing has changed to the modern TCG.
Is it like that in modern TCG? I have no idea.
So I play a lot on modern TCG, and it's not as egregious where it's like, I have one card. If you knock it out, I'm done. But it is very much of, my whole deck is built around getting this one card out so that I can just keep swinging and not stop. I'm not saying I have one of those decks, but I do. But it is very much everything is built around getting this one card out that is just wildly powerful for being a basic Pokemon. And low energy cost. It's just this weird, convoluted process of powerful Pokemon, low energy, maximum attack. The TCG hasn't changed, and that is refreshing to know.
Okay, so we have so you kind of saw for a quick second a neat little thing that I did, which is I used the Pokeball Trainer card. And with that trainer card, if it landed heads, and I was able to try to search out a Pokemon, or rather, I could have, but I did not, because in the because in this video game, if you try to search out your deck, whatever the top card in your deck is, it will be the first card. So what happens in that instance is, like I said, the RNG dictates everything, but it's locked in if you don't do anything else to kind of scramble up the RNG. So I know next turn I'm going to get not just Nidorino, but 2 plus power energy cards. So all I did was just pass for turn, or rather attack then pass for turn, because I don't need to search out Nidorino when it's going to be out in my hand in the next turn, and I don't need Nidorino on turn 2. I need it for turn 3 at minimum. So thankfully, this actually went pretty fine. Jane can be annoying in the sense that he can stun lock you with Rhyhorn's Leer, and we went through 2 Rhyhorns and got very, very lucky that we didn't get stun locked even once. So very thankful for that. That's 2 medals out the way, but now comes Ronald. I know some of you people know the name Ronald and what he means to this game, and I'm just telling you right now, you are not ready for what is about to happen. We have a Magnemite deck. Magnemite has a move that does 40 damage, and he has Lapras. Lapras has 80, but 40 times 2 because of the weakness mechanic, knocks it out in one go. That is fine. Cubone won't be able to attack, but this is the incredible strategy to beat Ronald. And that is to not beat Ronald. That's right. We actually throw the game on purpose because Ronald is incredibly... He's not a hard fight, but he is a long fight if you try to win. Story progression is not impacted by the result of this fight. Nothing happens if you win or lose. The only thing that changes is you get a special promotional card that really in a speed run, it's not going to do us any good. I believe in this one, beating Ronald the first time gives us I think it gives me a Jigglypuff that, it's not going to be useful whatsoever. This is a fantastic hand. This is oh, I love this hand. This hand is incredible.
So I think we haven't really super covered it, but what is the overarching story for this game? Because I assume there is one with getting badges or medals. I assume we're doing something.
Well,
what exactly are we doing?
The story is you love card games, and that's it.
Okay.
there isn't really no story. You go into the Mason laboratory, and he's like, "Oh, hey, we'll teach you how to play the game," and then off you go. Go ahead and become the champion. It's kind of bare bones. So it's not exactly something. It's not exactly. We don't play Pokemon TCG for the story, but at the very least, you visit the Mason laboratory, and you play the game, or you get taught how to play the game, and then you're off to go. Nothing to worry about there.
Well, I, for one, am a little disappointed I'm not going to be able to find a 4-hour-long video on the deep, complex lore of Pokemon TCG and how it's actually about existentialism or something. I was looking forward to that.
You might get something with TCG too, which actually has a plot. This might be a reset, because here's the interesting thing about actually no, this might not be a reset after all. It might be long, but we might actually be able to sweep with a Diglett of all things. So, we're facing Ken, the fire leader. You'll notice a distinct lack of fire type Pokemon in his deck. That's because he has a preference for colorless type Pokemon. That kind of really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but...
Actually, sorry.
Yeah.
This is a reference to Gen 4.
Oh.
Where the Elite Four for Fire only has 2 fire Pokemon, and the rest of them aren't fire type.
And you know what? I never thought about it that way, but honestly, that's pretty darn good. That's really that's about as good an explanation for why Ken has a lot of colorless type Pokemon as I've ever seen. In fact, I like it.
Maybe I'll make that 4-hour video.
In fact, it's so good that we're gonna see it twice. Because here comes Murray, who is almost the exact same as Ken, but just has more tanky Pokemon. And you might be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, Hitmonchan's weak to Psychic. Why are we bringing Hitmonchan into this fight? For one reason. Mr. Mime. You remember at the very beginning where I was talking about, wait a second, do I duck trio? Perfect. Do you remember at the very early on when I said type matchups for the most part make sense, but in a lot of regards you're just kind of left wondering, huh? This is one of those instances, and it's not so. And the reason why is because we use Hitmonchan to trick the AI just into thinking that we're gonna give him a type advantage when clearly not. Do I have? Okay, I'm hoping I don't get the Snorlax. This is a little dicey. We might have to say goodbye to. Oh, never mind. I have Switch. This is fine. So yeah, so Mr. Mime does have the type advantage over Hitmonchan. However, the AI has very strange behavior when any Pokemon that is weak to Psychic is out. The AI for Murray will always try to okay, I need to bring my Psychic type right now and just try to win that type matchup, even though they may not actually have the resources to even attack. And Mr. Mime has a move, not even a move, it's a Pokemon power called Invisible Wall. What that does is any attack that does more than 20 damage is automatically nullified and turned to 0, which is not great because the trio, his weakest move is 40. So we can't actually attack at all with Hitmonchan. With Duck Trio. So we use Hitmonchan because his weakest move, which only requires 1 energy card, it does 20. So that's why we go for a Hitmonchan strategy, because we are hoping... Oh boy. Of course, Ronald does not like to play nice, and we have to use the good old Magnemite Boom strat again. So... Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I would say Murray bringing out Psychic Pokemon almost reminds me of... it was the Gen 1, and somebody in chat can correct me. I know Pro Pokémon can. Of how the AI in the mainline games would go, oh, you have this Pokemon, I have this type advantage, even though the move that I have doesn't actually do damage.
Oh, yeah. With, I think it was Lorelei with Dugong. You can potentially, it's almost a soft lock with Lorelei if you bring out a Psychic, I think it's a Psychic type Pokemon, or something that's weak.
Yeah.
Something weak to Psychic, because it will try to use Rest because it's a Psychic type move. Even though it doesn't do damage, it will think, wait a minute, I have the type advantage for the move, even though it doesn't do any damage. It's kind of in that regard.
It kind of makes you wonder how much, in a sense, how much of the AI coding went from mainline and they said, hey, we can just change a couple values and put it into the TCG.
It is kind of an interesting thing to wonder because of how the AI... Okay, let's see. What do I have? Okay, I can get rid of this entire hand and nothing of value would be lost. Let's see... What?
Also, that is a dope Mewtwo card.
Oh, I love this card out. This is a special promotional Mewtwo card that you only get by beating Murray and talking to the old man. And, ooh, we're actually about to lose. So let's change the future and get ourselves a defender. So that way we are not gonna lose. I think we might. It depends on what. Will he go for plus power again? does it. Oh, he's gonna go for this. That's fine. We have plus power, so the math, so 40 times 2 minus 20 is 60, but plus power adds to 10. Defender. Oh, that.
Where does this fall in PEMDAS? Parenthesis, exponents.
Boy, that's an interesting one. That's just it. We might actually. I think this is a loss. Yeah, this is a loss. Believe it or not. That's so annoying. We're actually doing really well in the last few fights, but he set up that Imakuni about as well as anyone could. But yeah, no, don't worry, folks. I know for everyone who donated to the Imakuni incentive, we're about to enter that fight in just a second. It's after this fight. The way I have this read out, we have okay, 2 Mankeys. Not okay. That Hitmonchan does worry me. So so hopefully, so there's 2 strategies. Technically, there's a lot of strategies with Mewtwo, and the strategies with Mitch, who uses fighting types. Yeah, that's kind of. The strategy is generally psychic type because they do the most amount of damage against Mitch, but they are pretty weak to Mitch, and he uses a lot of Pokemon. He loves spamming Pokemon. So, but we are going to try and hope for a miracle. So, okay, yep, there's a miracle. Do I have here? Item finder. Actually, I'm not going to use Professor Oak yet. And I'm going to go for Pokeball. There we go. Yeah, no, Mitch can be quite annoying. There is technically easier strats, but I don't believe we actually have the means for it, because a safe but slow strat would be using Articuno or Scyther. We don't have either. So, unfortunately, those are out of the way. Kadabra is another strategy. It's another potential strategy, but that's also... You're also relying on going first, having Kadabra, and being able to survive 2 attacks. So, thankfully, we got out of that nightmare. That is Mitch. Mitch is one of those fights that, if you're not careful, he can end a really, really good run. So now, the reason why I routed this the way I do is because we talked to that... Oh, wait, no, I don't think I actually talked to the girl. Hold on. Make a slight detour. Imakuni can't show up unless we talk to you. Okay, now Imakuni has show up. Now, let's pretend like I had done this about 15 minutes ago. And there we go. There's Imakuni. Now we are going to go for a hybrid Abracadabra and Mewtwo strategy. I don't need the fossils right now.
Just really quick, I want to say thank you for all of your wonderful donations that we get to see this silly fight.
Oh, I really hope we can see his signature card. I really, really hope so. By the way, that's bright. Look at that art. That's already beautiful.
That player sprite is my sleep paralysis demon.
oh, you think that's the scary one? No, you're not ready. You're not ready to see what the actual sprite art for the card itself. There it is. Perfect. Okay, I know we're in the middle of the speed run. I have to do a dramatic reading of the card art. If you've never seen this before, you are not ready for this. Look at this. First of all.
Oh my god.
Now let's read what it does. Your active Pokemon is now confused. Imakuni wants you to play him as a basic Pokemon, but you can't. A mysterious creature not listed in the Pokedex. Great grammar, by the way. He asks kids around the world who is cuter, Pikachu or me. And that is Imakuni.
And if you join our Discord, we do have an Imakuni emote now you can use.
Oh, it's so good. It's let's see. There's Kadabra. Perfect. So the funny thing about Imakuni, well, first of all, we just beat him, which is fantastic. Secondly, if you beat him, he gives you 1 booster pack of every single type, so we get 40 free cards. Oh, and that could not have come at a better time. That could not have come at a better time with that Duck Trio. Ooh, that beautifully sets up the end game deck. Like, it could not have been set up any better, thanks to beating Imakuni. So, it's now becoming a running theme in these marathons, but chat, say thank you to Imakuni because he didn't. It's not like he saved a run. This run was not in danger, but boy, he just made the end game way more consistent now. Way more consistent. So here's another funny thing about Imakuni. Imakuni has special programming to where if he happens to draw that beautifully designed card, he is bound by the laws of the universe to always, and I mean always, play that card. What that card does, if you were lost in the weird lore of Imakuni asking children around the world who is cuter, is that Imakuni confuses his own Pokemon. We never got into what confusion does. So what it does is, if you want to attack, you have to flip a coin. If it lands heads, attack goes through. If it lands tails, you get hit with the equivalent of a 20 damage attack of your of the same type that the Pokemon is confused at. So let's say, for example, hypothetical, Imakuni plays a 40 HP Slowpoke, where it's weak to its own typing. And let's say Imakuni confuses his own Pokemon. And then he decides, I'm going to attack, and he misses the coin flip. What do you think happens? 20, it's dealt with the equivalent of a Psychic-type Pokemon hitting it for 20 damage. It has 40 HP. You multiply it by 2 because of the weakness. There's 40. It is actually possible for Imakuni to knock out its own Pokemon on his first turn and allowing you to win before your first turn of the run.
That's amazing.
It is actually possible.
It's truly the turn 1 Exodia Pokemon TCG.
Yeah, except in this case, you don't win, you lose.
I love it. And I, for one, I'll be the first one to say, I, for one, was indeed lost in the sauce and did not retain what the card did. So thank you for explaining it, because I did not retain that because I was sucked into the card art.
Don't worry, no one truly retains what the majesty that is Imakuni's card. This is a loss.
Can we also talk about how that Alakazam looks like it has a full-on beard?
Oh, this is a Kadabra, not even Alakazam.
Oh, excuse me, the Kadabra. Yeah, excuse me.
The Alakazam in this game looks wicked. It looks phenomenal, in my opinion. I'm hoping... Okay, Ghastly. We are in... This is kind of a precarious spot. But... Okay, this... I'm hoping for a double heads. Let's at least get the Abra out, and I'm hoping... Okay, I'm at the very least going to try and keep... And hope that I don't need a second Kadabra. Okay, I think we're... Yeah, no, we're good. This is not one of those, like, non-bosses that we treat as a boss, but it's almost getting to that point. Because Brittany has the highest amount of basic Pokemon in the entire speedrun. She has at least one of every single type of Pokemon in the game. And it can be a little difficult trying to get a strategy where you have to account for literally every single Pokemon type in the game. So thankfully, we escaped that without having to reset too many times. And we're actually getting close. There's actually only 7 fights left in the game, believe it or not. Only 7 fights. This might be...
Now,
what's up?
This is the any percent glitchless. What are the other categories? I see, like, I was looking at the leaderboard and seeing, like, there is manip and all cards. Did I miss anything, or does that about shake it out?
This is one of the... Pokemon TCG is one of those, like, interesting games, one of those interesting speed games where there is way more category extensions that is really, really fun to play, as opposed to the main category. Well, I guess a lot of games are like that, but a lot of the really fun stuff is in the category extensions, simply because there's a lot. It forces you to play like a lot of different games. There's one that I essentially kind of invented last year, or not last year, it was earlier this year. It was called All Battles, where we basically do an 80% glitchless run, but we have to fight every single fight in the game, and that includes Imakuni. Imakuni is a required fight in that category. I was a former world record holder of it, and it's definitely a lot of fun. There's also something called hard mode, where I think I know I said on the Discord, on the Prevent-a-thon Discord, that Squirtle is hard mode version of Bulbasaur, but that's hard mode in the context of just the 3 starters. Hard mode as its own category is you start the game with 0 cards. You don't have a single card in your deck.
Oh, no.
So, and it's not like it's not something that a fan made up or someone in the speedrunning community made up. No, it's a fully legitimate copy that you can even do on the Switch version, where you corrupt the game that it kind of overflows your card count to the point where it just zeroes out and you have no cards. So what you do is that little mail manipulation I did at the very beginning of the run. You are required to do that in order to have any Pokemon whatsoever. And you are almost always you're bound to always try to get a whatchamacallit. You're bound to always you have to get a Hitmonchan just to even get the run going, and then you get the cards that you need throughout the entire run. Let's see. This can be
That feels like it definitely feels like a video that I'd watch on YouTube to watch I beat Pokemon and started with 0 cards sort of video.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely one of those types of categories, Bully. It absolutely is. Fun again. It's funny because I actually once upon a time I thought, it'd be fun to just make a video like that, even though like there's multiple people that have beaten the game. It's not a lot of people, but at the very least, I can proudly say I am one of the very few people in the world to have beaten the game in under an hour in the hard mode category. It's an
Well, let's just say, let me encourage you. If you make it, regardless if it's 6 or 7 hours, don't worry, I'll watch it. I have watched a lot weirder videos for video game lore.
Yeah, no, it's a hard mode is a really interesting category. If you remember the dual escape glitch that I showed off at the very beginning of the run, there's actually a category where you try to beat the game just doing that. That's called any percent no ace, because there is ace, which for those of you who don't know, ace stands for arbitrary code execution. So a few years ago, someone discovered oh, this is kind of a really precarious situation. This is a really unfavorable water count. Well, we'll roll with it. The game that so what you do is we do something called a wrong warp at the very beginning of the game, and it allows us to beat the game in 5 minutes, essentially, without ever winning a fight. You just basically skip the tutorial, and then you go to a specific fight, build a certain type of deck, and you overload the memory in such a way that you automatically skip to the credits.
I'd like to make an addendum. This Magmar is my sleep paralysis demon.
Oh yeah, no, don't worry, it's mine too. This Magmar has smokescreen. This has the worst possible. This can stun lock you, and it can. Oh wait, hold on. Oh, there are no trainer cards. So, part of the cards, Dugong. Ooh, close enough. Gotta hope for. Oh, thank goodness. We have only one Dugong, and I desperately needed that Dugong to show up. And oh no, not dancing. All right, everybody. Have a nice restroom break. You know, stretch your legs, drink water, whatever you want to do. Okay, that's an auto loss. So what happens here is, let's see, Pokeball. Let's see.
Well, while you're redoing it, can I share a message?
Yes.
Awesome. So I wanted to mention we also have a new bid war open. So later today we have Deliver Us the Moon. And one of those things is the game has a little drone buddy with a customizable color scheme. And you can decide if our little drone buddy, also known as an ace, is going to be Trans Pride, Canadian, Prevent-a-thon, or Halloween colors.
Ooh.
Different kind of ace, not arbitrary code execution, but
What are we, speedrunners?
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, I need less than 2 heads now. Oh no, this could decide to run. Oh, okay, unfortunate. Wait. What, how much health is that? No, I have 10 HP left. Perfect.
you can do it.
Okay, Growlithe needs 2 turns to attack, so I'm safe. I'm safe. Oh my goodness, you have no idea how dangerously close we were to resetting. And this is the most punishing Grandmaster. By the way, we're in the Pokemon Dome. This is the equivalent of Field 4. Courtney is not the hardest of the Grandmasters, but she is the most punishing when it comes to resetting, because you have to do the unskippable cutscene where it introduces all the Grandmasters at once. And every time you do that, it's like a 15-second time loss just by going through that cutscene alone. So, boy, I'm so glad we kind of went through that unscathed. So, remember when I said at the very beginning, or remember when I told you guys, put a pin on that 35 minutes from now about bosses being taken down in 1 turn. So, the Grandmasters do have the same boss AI programming that always forces them to have at least 2 basic Pokemon in their hand. However, there is something... I'm gonna reset because I don't have a way to get that trio. Each of these Grandmasters have a special Pokemon that is only ever allowed to be played within the confines of this video game, because all of them have Pokemon power, and some of those Pokemon powers introduces an element of RNG that the TCG never really took into consideration when this game was first made. And we never saw the Moltres. So Courtney, hers was Moltres, but we never saw it. The Moltres that we saw wasn't the Moltres that I'm talking about. That Moltres, when you play it on the field, it gives Courtney 1 to 4 free energy. Zapdos is an interesting one, because Zapdos has a move where you can beat where it's played on the field, and it does 30 damage to any one random Pokemon out on the field. And that's dangerous because Diglett has 30 HP, and the Zapdos ignores weakness. So that's no bueno. And the thing about it is, the bosses are, if they only have 1 basic Pokemon, and then to add on to that, they have their legendary game exclusive card, they actually will not put on their bench the legendary card. So, if you have the greatest hand and you go first and you have the right matchup, theoretically, it is possible to actually win on turn 1. And oh, that's insulting, but I will keep this? Question mark. Okay, this is kind of, actually, against my better judgment, I will keep this because this has the potential to be a good hand. You have energy, sir. Alright. I think I know what I'm going to do. We're gonna evolve into the trio, and then we are going to Professor Oak, and we have another energy surge to allow us to get some fun stuff. This Articuno. Interesting dilemma. We could... Okay, I think I have an idea. This is gonna look a little funky, but I'm going to go for this Articuno that's already fully set to attack. And then I'm going to use an energy removal. Because the way the RNG, the way the AI behaves a lot of times is that the AI will, if a Pokemon is about to be knocked out, and then it just decides and is about to get knocked out, it's not going to add any more energies to that Pokemon because the AI is going to be thinking, well, darn, you know, why am I going to bother wasting a turn setting up a Pokemon that's going to get knocked out next turn? We got to hope if... Okay, good. This is still pretty precarious. This might be a potential reset depending on how the next turn goes. Okay. Okay, we have another Diglett. Alright, so... Yeah, the problem with Earthquake not also hurts your own Pokemon, but... Ooh, this is good. This is good. Because now I can set up... I'm hoping that... Not Seal. Okay. It's going to be a full effort. It's going to be an effort from the rest of the team to try and figure out how to combat this, the rest of Jack's Pokemon. We just gotta hope he doesn't add anything. Ooh, there's the Articuno. So Articuno, if you add Articuno onto the bench, then it will... Let's see. Okay, I think what I'm gonna do is something called prize scumming. Prize scumming, what it does is when you beat an opponent's Pokemon, the AI does not like re-randomize the prize card. They're always set. So we are going to figure out whether or not... Okay, this is barely winnable, I think. This is barely winnable, but we have Pokeball, so we have a potential out. So let's see if Pokeball is generous. It's not. Is there a Pokemon that can knock me out? Yes, there... Well, actually, no. So I could... This is a really tense fight. Okay, Articuno.
Put those bless emotes in chat, y'all.
Yeah, this is, I'm gonna need every possible help. So I have power, defender. Can't use... I'm gonna have to hope Professor Oak. Heart of the Cards. Yes! Okay, Heart of the Cards.
That was really good.
Okay. Oof. You never get to see Diglett score the winning blow in a 6-prize Jack fight. Jack is the hardest fight in the game. And, ooh, boy, that was... Boy, that was something. That was something. I think a lot of top runners will look at this and think, there were maybe about 15 instances where top runner would be like, reset the fight, reset the fight, reset the fight. But there was something that was telling me, maybe there's a potential out. And that's just the optimist in me. That's just the optimist in me, thinking, okay, we can win this. We can win this. We believe.
I think it was that, and also Yugi's grandfather.
Okay, so go the trio. This is not what I want, but I'm basically hoping that Lapras doesn't confuse me twice. That's the hope. Or if it confuses me, that I can just get something to heal confusion. That is the hope. I get confused. But thankfully, you remember from what I had said a little bit earlier, that because that coin flip is going to land hands, but because I shuffled the deck, it rerolls the RNG, now it's tails.
I love that.
Now, this is like some really, like, we're talking like, this is some advanced tech right there with Pokemon TCG. And thankfully, aside from Lapras and Dragonair, there really isn't much to Rod. His legendary Pokemon is... I'm going to set this up just in case. His legendary Pokemon is Dragonite. That's yeah, Dragon. Yeah, they're really didn't have that many cards to be doing like special promo game exclusive legendary card. The first 3 get the legendary birds. Rod gets Dragonite. You never ever see it in a speed run ever, because it takes way too long to try and set up. You need Dratini and Dragonair to be able to set that up. But surprise, surprise! If you've ever played a Generation 1 game, Pokemon game, you kind of saw this coming. Ronald is the final fight. And oh boy, is Ronald the last fight. There's Moltres. Okay, typically that's typically what happens. Okay, Dratini can be a red. No longer. Because
Does...
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go
No,
ahead.
I think you're about to... I was saying, does Ronald get a special deck specifically for this fight, or is it the deck just powered up as you've been fighting him throughout the storyline?
No, Ronald completely changes his deck throughout the entirety of the run. He has 4 unique decks, so we've seen 3 of them. The first 2, they're not great. The problem why they can be annoying is strictly because of the fact that it's a 6 prize fight, so that introduces like more time for Ronald to potentially introduce some shenanigans. But it's but they're not difficult. Believe it or not, the hardest version of Ronald is actually the fight that you don't actually see on Glitchless, which is in the... Ooh, this could be... Oh, this is... Well, you saw the Zapdos right there, so... This is, does that 30 damage that I was telling you about. Well, at least Ronald was nice enough to see it. Okay. I have a very, very, very interesting question for you guys. So, I want you to follow along with the logic here. So, Zapdos is a lightning-type Pokemon. He requires, come on. Well, there's Articuno. That is fine, I think. Zapdos requires lightning energy. And I have Pokebird. Zapdos requires lightning energy to attack. Okay, that's great. Articuno requires water energy to attack. That's also great. That, you know, Derek, that logic follows, right? That's good sound logic, right?
Right.
Okay. So, what happens? So, Ronald doesn't have a single fire energy, a single... Okay, ooh, we actually just beat Ronald. So, Ronald doesn't have a single water or lightning energy in the entire deck. When we're actually about to come up time in about 25 seconds. Because we just beat Ronald, and the victor goes to spoil. So, Ronald doesn't have water or lightning energy in that deck. Think about it. He has Articuno and Zapdos, and they cannot attack once.
It sounds like me when I'm trying to build a deck. Or I'm like, oh right, I forgot. I have too many different Pokemon types.
And that's time. Right.
GG.
Wish I could have gotten a little underestimate, but that is fine. We have to include an Imakuni fight anyway. But either way, actually, no. I think technically this, if the Imakuni and Senta had been, because it was met, I think technically the estimate was added like an extra couple of minutes. I don't know if it got reflected on the thing, but yeah. I will just pretend that we went underestimate because of the Imakuni fight. So yeah, that is that's Pokemon TCG in a nutshell. We go through, we become the champion. All it took us was an hour to do so, and we did it through the power of Diglets and Duck Trio, and also Ronald not knowing how to build a deck. So, so yeah, no, that is Pokemon TCG. It's been a wonderful ride the last 3 years that I've been running this game. It opened so many doors for me, and the community. While right now it's a bit of on the smaller side of things, I am so grateful to have such a warm and welcoming TCG speedrunning community. We're always there to help out anybody who wants to learn how to play the game. It's one of the I would say it's one of the most supportive speedrunning communities out there, just because of how fun and how, how creative speedrunning this game can be. The really fun thing about it is that routing is very much left to the imagination, because the way routing works, it's very open-ended. You can just route out the run however you want, and it invites a lot of experimentation. I think it also, breeds creativity with a lot of the new runners entering the scene. And yeah, I'm so glad that I was able to show off to everybody. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to be here at Prevent-a-thon, and if you want to see me speedrun this game, I am currently in the middle of a world record grind for all battles to reclaim my world record, where all battles you do fight every single opponent in the game, including Ibukuni, so you get to see that wonderful card text. So that is Pokemon TCG, any percent glitchless on the Bulbasaur category. Derek, is there anything else that you want to say before we sign off?
Yeah, if you like me and my blithering on, you can definitely go follow me on twitch.tv/DerekGNC. I don't do Pokemon TCG for full transparency, but I do a lot of other speedrunning and randomizer content there. And thank you so much for having me to be a comms buddy. I enjoy getting to talk to people about their passions in their games. And I can see the love and passion for this game in the way you talk about it and the way you play it. So thanks for having me, and thank you to Prevent-a-thon. Go check out schedules and go consider donating. And again, open up your windows and shout it out to the neighbors to go check out Prevent-a-thon and to consider donating as well.
And I think I speak for everyone when we say we cannot thank you enough for all the donations and for adding a little bit of extra fun to this run. So thank you all to everybody, and thank you to Prevent-a-thon. From Bulbasaur, from myself, Toronite, this is Pokemon TCG, and we will see you all in the next one. Hope you guys stick around for the rest of the marathon. But for now, we are signing off. Peace.
Thank you so much, Toronite, for that fun run. All right, everyone, go ahead, stretch, but don't go anywhere. We have so much marathon left to come. All right, that has been my time with you on the mic, but I have loved it here, and I will still be here with you in chat while we continue raising money for such a wonderful cause. And while we're done with our Pokemon block, I'm going to be handing you off to the wonderful Pro Poke Noob. So we're keeping the Pokemon theme a little bit. Don't worry about it. ! Donate, ! Schedule, and even ! Socials in chat. Stretch, but don't go anywhere.
Okay, you can put that over there. Hey, can you hang that up on the wall for me? That can go right here next to my mouse. I don't, you know what? Maybe leave that out and back. Sorry, chat. You'll have to give me a moment here. I'm trying to figure out where to organize all of my hype for this marathon. Hello, Prevent-a-thon 4. My name is Pro Pokénoob, and I am here to bring you through the next couple of hours of this incredible 4-day marathon raising money for Little Warriors. Coming up next is Portal 2 with JO. We're just getting that set up for you right now. The single player, no SLA. As a reminder, as to why we are here, why did I close what I was going to talk about? That's a good move. We're here raising money for Little Warriors. Little Warriors recognizes the importance of continually assessing and improving program design for their Be Brave Ranch intensive treatment programs. By utilizing a process known as measurement-based care, or MBC for short, Little Warriors collects important clinical data aimed at informing treatment approaches. Through a partnership with the University of Alberta's Department of Psychiatry, Little Warriors aims to use MBC to develop an evidence-based standard of excellence for the treatment of child sexual abuse survivors. Learn more by visiting littlewarriors.ca or type !info in chat. So far, we have raised $115. Thank you very much for that. We're still working through it, and we got a couple of things for you to get your money really excited. When you donate, you have a couple of bids that you can put it towards. First things first, and this is critical because it's coming up really, really soon, right after this run, in fact, is Metal Gear Solid. We're trying to upgrade that to an any % extreme category. We need $60, 60 loonies. 60 of those wonderful golden coins that you can toss at the screen, actually break your screen. We're one of the few that can say that. To make that happen, so make sure you get your donations through that. And a little bit later in the marathon, we're also looking to get a bid war filled out here for Deliver Us the Moon. The colors of, I believe this was the robot, the little robot companion. We've got 4 choices for you. We have the Canadian bot, which is white, red, and red. We have the Halloween bot, which is black, orange, and purple. We have the Prevent-a-thon bot, which is black, yellow, and blue. And we have the Trans Pride bot, the white, pink, and blue. Make sure you get your donations in to support both of those. Because I'd like to see what an extreme version is for Metal Gear Solid. I forget where the notes are. I'll get that for you in just a moment, because I'm still trying to organize all the hype, and, you know, I've got all the Machokes in the back moving it. That's a Pokemon joke. I'm a Pokemon guy. Yeah. Hope everyone's been enjoying it so far. It's going to be an awesome 4 days. You're actually going to be hearing my voice quite a bit this marathon. So, yeah. Really looking forward to all of the wonderful runs we have for you today. Just by the way, when I mentioned 60 loonies, because some people might not know what you know that what the heck is a kilometer meme? What's a loony? Well, just to let you know, Little Warriors is a Canada-based charity, so all donations are in Canadian. Why we do it as CAD, I don't get it, but we do. That means about $1 Canadian is about 72 cents USD, which means that if you're in the United States, you'd only have to donate about $14.42 American in order to donate $20 Canadian to the cause. So make sure you keep that in mind. We can also have some other great conversion rates. I love math, by the way, which is why I love games that use math, like Pokemon and percentages and all that. Makes me really fun. So listen to this. $1 American is about $1.39 cents Canadian, which means if you're in the US, we're giving you even more numbers. Here's another conversion. $20 USD is $27.73 in Canadian. And then $1 in, oh no. Oh, I don't know what this is. The Great Britain pound? I think I knew this. Every marathon, I find one detail that I am not confident in. I think that's the Great Britain pound. It's about $1.80 Canadian. That sounds about right. You are also able to check your conversion rates right there. It's already been posted in chat. Thank you very much, Mina. Exclamation rate will help fill you in on that.